More, a couple of them down.
Heavy and fresh, we know.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you everyone for being here and those watching on TV. For a change, I do have a few things to say. Anyway, I wanted to take a moment and compliment and thank our city crews, the street department, electric and park, and anyone else that helped with the quick response and all hands job after the intense storm that we had last Tuesday afternoon. We did have a couple of electric outages, but everyone was back on within 45 minutes. The electric department was on it. And this is a good example of why the electric department trims trees back, to try and prevent the tree limbs from getting into the wires. The streets were covered with tree limbs and branches and debris, and the crews were on that also. I just want you, the public, to know how hard these people work for you. Hermann is blessed to have such a dedicated crew of workers. Also, I've been asked by several people after our last board meeting why we did not have any questions for the tree commission at our last meeting. Well, the tree commission had submitted their proposal in writing to all the aldermen and myself. And as far as I was concerned, there weren't really any questions to ask because they had it written out. I will say some things in the proposal might be able to be accomplished in the future, but I want everyone to understand that the Hermann crews are not going to go around and cut all the trees down whenever they're going to redo a street. Each street will have to be analyzed on what the best situation or solution is for that particular street or block, including whether the sidewalks will be moved or not, or the trees taken down. I just hope this explains why there were no questions when the tree commission gentleman was here. Also at our last meeting, the citizens spoke about the trees on 4th Street and our public works director. I feel I needed to address the statements made. The trees on 4th Street were cut down by the advice of the tree commission because they were dead at the top and diseased. The city went by the tree commission's recommendations. I know the bases of the trees after they were cut down look like they're very good, but that was not the case on these trees. As far as statements made against the public works director and project of the electric loop, there were several misstatements. There's a lot more to this than stated, and I'm not going to go into all the details, but we'll tell you that the biggest problem with the loop project is that COVID hit, the cost of the materials skyrocketed, and for this statement that the public works director hates trees was taken out of context. In his conversation, he stated he does hate trees, especially when they get close to his electric wires. And I think the city is in good hands with our public works department and director. And I'll stand behind all of our hard-working employees. And if you haven't noticed, you know, when the storms come, very seldom do we have an electric outage. And if we do, it usually is repaired in less than an hour, like the storms last week. And why is this? Why is that? Because the electric department trims the trees, trying to keep the limbs out of the trees. You know, if you ever watch the news, St. Louis area and other places after a storm, and see how many people are out of electric service by UE and how long they're out of electric. So just be thankful you live in Hermann and we have the dedicated employees that we have. Thank you. We'll move on to City Administrator report.
Okay. Originally we had a public hearing scheduled for tonight, and that obviously has been canceled. So it was going to be for a rezoning request for some lots on the Twinner block of East 3rd Street, requesting to go from R1 to C1. But during conversation at the Planning and Zoning Commission, they decided to postpone any action on that. That original application with all of the lots on it will probably be withdrawn, and I think they're encouraging the individual property owners to submit their own. So that is still at the P&Z level, and it will eventually come before you all. I don't have the exact verbiage of the motion that was made at that meeting, but as soon as I get those minutes, I'll make sure you get them. The airport grant, we had the pre-bid meeting on August 2nd. There was one contractor there in person. There are 3 others that are active and interested online. And the bid opening is going to be August 18th. The engineers will then need a few days to analyze all that data and to make a recommendation to the city. And due to the tight timeline, it's very likely that we might have to call a really quick, like 5-minute special meeting just to approve the contractor because of the way the board meetings are falling. It will save us like 2.5 weeks, and we're already really pushing up against the cold weather. So that might happen the week of later in the week of the 22nd. Sales tax deposit this month was 9% over the same month for last year. So that's good news. And a street update, you've probably all seen that 7th Street, the curb and gutter is done. They're finishing up a little backfilling and patching in that area. And then they moved on today to the 200 block of East 4th Street to work on that curb and gutter. Unfortunately, the timing is colliding with the Blue Oval Car Show rally down there this Saturday. So they had asked for that block of to be closed, but they're going to swap it out for the 200 block of East 3rd Street. They've done that street in the past, and this year they didn't think they were going to need it. But now that the 200 block of 4th Street is closed, they're once again asking for the 200 block of East 3rd to be closed. And you've probably noticed as well that Highway 100 East, the Freedom Creek Bridge over near Hermann has that really low sunken place in the right-hand lane. So that obviously is the state highway. And Jesse called them last week, and they have hired last time they did mud jacking. This time they're going to try foam injection. So they have a company hired to do foam injection to raise that slab back up. Preston Kramer, who's our contact, said that it is on this company's schedule for this season, but they couldn't give him a date as to when it would be done. But I would assume their season is, again, before winter, so hopefully that's sooner than later. And I want to make mention regarding the open container ordinance. I spoke with Lieutenant Stratman last week, and he reminded me that he annually goes around the first week of September, and he goes door to door to all the businesses that sell liquor by the drink. And he will remind them about the open container ordinance, ask them to help us enforce it. Marlon's ordered some new signs, and so he'll give them signs to post and really, really encourage them to put somebody at their door to make sure that people aren't leaving with open containers. Because if we can, if we can curb the problem at the source, that's going to be a huge help, especially to our law enforcement. So the cooperation of the bars and the restaurants is really a critical component. Liquor to go. So they really need to work with state liquor control to make sure that they have approved to-go containers, and it meets all the other stipulations of that liquor to-go law. That too is going to be really helpful in helping our police department enforce that ordinance. I think that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to ordinances. Okay.
The first on the agenda this evening is Bill number 2022-40, an ordinance to approve a support and maintenance agreement by and between the City of Hermann, Missouri and Electric Controls Company for the city's SCADA control system.
Any questions?
This is just an annual renewal.
Trish, can you explain SCADA? I had to do a little research, and there's other people I'm sure who probably don't know what it is.
Well, I'm not going to get the acronym correct, but it is some kind of electronic emergency monitoring system of our water and our wastewater. They're set up on alarm systems, and so if something goes wrong, this alarm will go off and alert our dispatch center, and the dispatch will call out our crews to go out and repair the problem. So it's timely. It gets them out there timely when there's an emergency.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
I move to approve bill number 2022-40.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Mr. Mayor, if we could read these first three twice, that would be fantastic.
Okay, second time, sir?
Bill number 2022-40 for second reading, an ordinance to approve a support and maintenance agreement by and between the City of Hermann, Missouri and Electric Controls Company for the city's SCADA control system.
Do I have a motion to approve second reading?
I move.
I'll move to approve bill number 2022-40, so second read.
Motion's been made, second.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Next is bill number 2022-41 for first reading, an ordinance to approve a supplement to the city's Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Airport Aid Agreement.
And this is just MoDOT reconfirming in writing to us that they're committing funds and they've extended the deadline for the project to be done. Again, we got hung up over COVID and the funding was in question for a while, so this is just them recommitting to that.
Very good. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion to approve bill number 2022-41.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Read that one a second time, please.
Bill number 2022-41, an ordinance to approve a supplement to the city's Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Airport Aid Agreement.
Motion's been made, do I have, I need a motion.
I move to approve bill second read 2041.
Motion's been made, now do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Next is bill number 2022-42, an ordinance to correct a typing error in ordinance number 2294 regarding curfews. And so this was on a couple meetings ago, and that was just my bad. And the reference to the code section there, I had 215-1980, where I should have had 215-1970.
Everybody understand? Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve bill number 2022-42.
Motion's been made, second.
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Second reading on that one also.
Bill number 2022-42 for second reading, an ordinance to correct a typing error in ordinance number 2294 regarding curfews.
I have a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve bill number 2022-42, second read.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Next, for first reading, bill number 2022-43, an ordinance to revise Appendix A of Section 530.030 of the Municipal Code of the City of Hermann, fees for inspections and issuance of permits. And so this ordinance would be, if you look in the code, it refers to all of the fees and the math that you're supposed to do to calculate permit fees in this appendix that looks just like this, which you have here in the ordinance. And so I looked at my notes and made the multiplier for residential and institution .003, changed some of the miscellaneous permit fees. I think Tricia looked at it and made an edit or two, so this should be consistent with what you were expecting per Mike's recommendation.
Any questions?
There were two versions, one in our binder and then this one, and there are a few subtle differences in the a la carte fees. Which one are we going?
So the one on your desk, so the only changes, none of the amounts are changed, and actually I had to hand type on the one for posting purposes because I had trouble with the formatting on the document. But the only change is actually like 2 or 3 words where it said discretionary on the penalty for starting work without a permit. We just removed 3 words. That's really the only substantive change. The other. Do you see something else, Ash?
Well, I'm just looking at like electrical or plumbing extensions, and there's two different dollar amounts.
Well, you know what, maybe then there was something on there, because I did make some changes after Dave had it. So, the one on your desk is the current one.
Okay.
Does it say $50 for the electric?
On the one on the desk, it says 30.
Well, we're gonna read this twice anyway, so let me, it should say 50.
And then swimming pool is different too by $5.
Okay, well, between me making those corrections and getting that, obviously something got left out, so, can we vote, we'll get those back, everybody voted to raise those at the last meeting, and I know what they are, so I'll make sure those get corrected for the second reading, that those are all consistent with what we had agreed on. I think the big question then, is the multiplier.
And are we sure that raising it by this percentage is going to cover the city's costs with raising the multiplier? to that
Well,
amount?
there's always the unknown of how much activity is going on in the city with remodels and building and of course new construction. But I would think, you know, again, we wanted to break even and we're only not quite at the halfway mark of doing that. So we're not quite doubling the permit fees. So I think we should at least double the multiplier, if not more.
Okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion? Do I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve bill number 2022-43, first read.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. We'll move to resolution.
The resolution for this evening, number 1323, the resolution to authorize the execution of a master services agreement between the City of Hermann, Missouri and MPUA Resource Services Corporation.
Any questions on this?
Can Trish explain it just so that everybody knows what it is?
Yeah, so this is a program through our electric supplier, MPUA, and it is a really great resource. They have, MPUA has a special crew that you can actually schedule to come and work on specialty projects. If it's for like a project that's too big for us, or if it involves equipment that we don't have, we can get them at a much reduced rate because they're actually part of our company, you know, part of our own pool, and so it's about 10% cheaper than going out and getting another contractor. And so this is just an initial agreement that they want us to sign so that in the event that we need them, this is already in place. This doesn't commit us to anything. There would be a subsequent agreement, which is is the second attachment here, this appendix, which would have to be committed to and come before you all again before we'd actually hire them to do a project. But it's a really great program that MPUA provides. And again, it's just to supplement our own crews with equipment and labor that we might not have if we need a specialty job.
Okay. Everybody understand that? Yeah. So could I have a motion to approve the resolution?
I move to approve resolution number 1323.
Motion been made, second.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Do we have any old business? No old business? Any new business? No new business. We'll move on to motions. I have a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
I move to approve the July 25th, 2022 minutes.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. We have a motion to pay the bills.
I move we pay the bills.
Motion is made to pay the bills. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Appoint Gabrielle Gleason to the Arts Council. Have a motion to approve her.
I move to approve Gabriel Wilson.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
I will second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Renewal of the Madden Media Missouri Travel Guide advertisement. Have a motion to approve that.
Move to approve.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye. Any opposed? So carried. Caterers permit J. Rigger and Company for the Wine and Jazz Fest Amphitheater, August 27th and August 27th, 2022. Do I have a motion?
Trish, do we have a doing business as name for this company?
I don't think so.
I was just wondering who was going to be putting up their sign at the Jazz Festival.
Yeah, these people have been to Hermann for different events before, and so if they use a different name, I'm not sure.
That is their DBA.
And is there DBA?
Any other questions? Okay. Did you make a motion?
I move to approve.
You made the motion. I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm new on the job, give me a break. Okay, caterers permit, J. Rigger and Company for the Smoke Fest Amphitheater, September 17th, 2022.
I move to approve.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Caterers permit for Adam Pupta Winery, Bushwhacks, and the Hollywoods Concert Amphitheater, September 10th, 2022. A motion to approve Adam Pupta.
Both of them.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Caterers permit for Adam Pupta Winery at the Witches and Wine 4th Street event, October 20th, 2022. I have a motion to approve that.
Move to approve.
Motion made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Caterers permit the Piano Bar, Justin Doherty, Germantown Jams Concert Amphitheater, August 20th and September 24th, 2022.
I move to approve.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
So carried. Special event application, Lionheart Whiskey Company Motorcycle Show with vendors and music on a portion of Schiller Street. 1 1/2 blocks of street closed with open containers allowed, September 11th, 10 a.m. to 5. And Clayton is here, so if you all have questions for him. No questions?
I just want to make a statement, and this isn't necessarily directed at you, Clayton. I think us as a board is getting a little free easy going with closing down public streets. I know we approved the art festival with special exemptions, but it just seems we have a lot of street closures on the books.
I have to agree.
May I address that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's my understanding, and I wasn't here at that time, that Hermann did have a motorcycle show that wasn't a regular event. The day before this is, there's a car show that's
Right.
closing down the streets, but there was a motorcycle show that for some reason or another, that somebody had decided not to carry on over the years. I think maybe they
I
just
think they lost a sponsor.
Yeah, something like that. So just so happens my family, my wife's family, have the largest independent motorcycle shop in the Midwest. So we're going to team up with them, come down here. It says, open containers, but it'd be us, and there's a brewery that's going to be bringing some themselves here next year, wanting an opportunity to introduce themselves to town. So it'd just be the two of us, and we would be obtaining those permits to sell on the street.
So the
and then
brewery's
all-
coming to this time, or it's not?
Yep. So the brewery. So it would be us and Friendship Brewery that would be there. So like I said, Friendship Brewery's coming next year to town.
Right.
and are looking for a way to kind of get their foot in the door and introduce themselves to town. And then not that this matters, but all the proceeds to this particular motorcycle show go to the Community Foundation of Hermann. So,
I have one question for you.
yep,
I mean, I've been involved in some of this motorcycle stuff over the years, and
Yep.
you're saying a block and a half
yep.
as far as advertising for this. Some of these things, a block and a half is not going to be enough room for you.
Yeah, and you know, years to come, not
I mean, I'm
really-
just saying because
Sure.
my son-in-law and daughter
Yeah.
belong to clubs, and I know how this
Yeah, so
things
it would be,
mushroom pretty rapidly.
Yeah, so CMA of Missouri, the Community Christian Motorcycles Association, would be a part of it as well, coming here doing bike blessings and things like that. You know, that's about 15,000 square feet, 15,700, something like that, whenever I measured it out. We would be planning on having a bike show on about 2/3 of that, and then just having 5 or 6 vendors, a couple craft vendors. One guy, with a tent, serving some barbecue, myself and the brewery on the other portion, which is just from kind of 3rd Street over to the alleyway in front of Evergreen.
Why not
and-
do this at the amphitheater like they used to do it?
Just having motorcycles on the grass is against the rules, so I can't just roll a bunch of motorcycles in there.
What about the riverfront?
I thought about Riverfront
Because that
Park.
way, you can do open container there.
Yeah.
Public restrooms are there.
Yeah, I thought about Riverfront Park, and I'm open to discussing that as a contingency. Whenever I talk to the business owners that this encompasses, everyone seemed kind of excited, and the red flag that was thrown up to me from somebody else, because I thought, well, we could probably get away with like 1/3 of Riverfront Park, right? And my shop's closed on Sunday anyway. I was going to use my shop as the silent auction area, where people could come in and do silent auctions at the table where stuff was more secure. But I've got tents for that. But the concern from some neighbors were, people come in, they go over to Riverfront Park, and there are plenty of businesses there. So Fancy Pheasant, Colleen's Place, Hogshead, Jennifer at Uber Nocton, tasting rooms open during those times, and a lot of other businesses that they'd be passing by to come in, and that they would not necessarily, they'd come for the show, they'd do everything all encompassing in the show and maybe leave. And this being a Sunday afternoon, whenever we're kind of lacking some tourism, felt like a good opportunity to get some tourism into the heart of downtown.
Do you have an anticipation of how many bikes you're going to have?
For this year, like I said, bikes wise, it's the first show. I mean, and we've only got a few weeks to present it. 30, 40 in the show, maybe another 60 to. I mean, it could. Who knows? But 60 or 70 showing up, just kind of gauging it. If it did grow over time, we could definitely talk about moving it somewhere. I honestly felt being a Sunday and bringing a little bit more people down to town, down into the heart of downtown was a little bit better for everyone that way.
What about doing it in the park? You'd have streets there. They used to do the car show in the park, didn't they?
In the
city park.
the city park, so
It's
I mean, there's
grassy.
campers
But not on
everywhere.
the sides of the streets.
Worth Street or Mozart that curves around.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with what layout you'd be talking. I mean, there's campers everywhere down there, but if there's something, like I said, I think Riverfront Park in the future would pose the best thing if it got large enough to warrant something like that.
If the weather's good, I think you're going to be surprised on how many people.
But I would tell you, I've been throwing these with Chariots of Fire Customs in Troy for 15 years. We do one event every single month that draws in a couple hundred people, and then one charity event every summer that has 600 to 1,000. It won't be anything like that this size, but this is like throwing motorcycle shows is something we do every 30 days, so we're pretty familiar with that.
So there's no like burnout
No,
competition or anything?
No.
Because I know the other one we had to deal with that.
No. We have, in the years past up in Troy, we have had like the trailer where it comes in and straps the bike down the safe way and does all that. And the winner gets a free tire, and all the losers have to buy one. But no, nothing like that. We're mainly just trying to get some. There's a Hermann Motorcycle Riders Group, trying to introduce them to our brands and stuff like that. So
the only cross street that will be blocked off would be 3rd Street then?
yeah, so we would just go to that alley right next to Evergreen. And the actual event would be noon to 4, but I've got the timing in here for enough time for setup and breakdown.
Have to go along with what Ash and Susan talked about. I think we as a board need to look into our street closers, because we had a few disheartened other businesses complained about it. And of course, my big thing is no to the open container.
Okay.
We have an ordinance prohibits that. It kind of ties in with our food truck where they're not allowed to sell alcoholic beverages. This would be a vendor would have to get a state license and a city license.
Absolutely.
And the state license is only issued to a brick and mortar location.
So yeah, myself or the.
It's not transferable to another location.
Yeah, so the state license is just a caterer's permit. It's $10 fee to the state. Takes about 10 days to turn around. So that catering permit is exactly what you just passed on J-Riger, Adam Punta, things like that. As far as the open container thing, it would be a closed off street. We would not be selling anything out of any, that's illegal. You can't just walk out of business with it. It would be a vendor on the street, myself and somebody else. But I would say, Jim, to your thing is, I mean, I'm wearing the shirt, right? So I own a whiskey company. I'm really trying to do a lot of great things for the town, including one of the concerts that you just went through, 2 concerts that you just went through, that I'm paying 100% for, and every dollar I get back is going to charity. Doesn't matter. That's a moot point. But what I would say is this Saturday I'm closing my doors. I'm putting some signs up and saying, come here if you want my whiskey, come here if I want my whiskey, because I'm driving 2 hours away to Moberly, where 15 other distilleries, wineries, breweries are going to be. And the city actually paid for my license for that so that we could bring tourism into theirs. I would strongly urge you to, whenever a business is trying to pump into the town, to listen with ears that aren't just your own, because I can easily find a town that will support me, and I'm not too sunk into this one to leave. All right?
Good input.
Thank you.
But we're advised, I took that as a threat.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Could we change, or could he change the application and have it go to Park Board Monday night and be
Yeah.
Riverfront Park?
Yeah, if you guys were more comfortable with Riverfront Park, like I said, I think there were some benefits to doing it downtown to other businesses.
This would be all the businesses downtown, and the First Street, Schiller Street.
Yeah, they're just not forced to actually be amongst the businesses to be in the thing. But yeah, then I would go to the Park Board on Monday.
I think it's a positive event. When the motorcycle thing was here before, it was positive, and like I say, what killed that was the sponsor thing. Tom, did you want to make a comment?
I did.
Make it short, please.
I had a business on Schiller for 12 years. We had considerable amount of time that street was closed, always to our benefit with the tourism traffic and with the art council or the art walk, all the other things with open containers on closed streets. I can have you ask the chief, and we were down there personally the whole time. No problems whatsoever with people being drunk and crazy. They liked the idea. We got many compliments on this is the greatest thing to be able to walk in the street and enjoy the show. Whether or not it's the arts walk or a car show, people like that. Maybe 1 or 2 people in town don't like it, but as a rule, the majority of businesses and the public like it.
I agree, and I think if you look at many other municipalities and little towns, some of them block off everything. I mean, you know, not just one street. So I think it's a positive thing.
250 people on a Sunday is nothing to take. That's
Nice.
There's a lot of people.
Okay, so as this application in front of us, what do you want to do with this?
Can I make a motion that Clayton go to the Park Board and see if we can do this, or if he can do this at the Riverfront Park?
Susan, may I ask, if you guys did do that, is there a way to approve it contingent on that Park Board approval? Because I would not have time to come back here to the next meeting and get all the appropriate licensing and advertise to the event.
Is it okay with you guys? I mean, do we need to vote it, the park board approves it, that it's okay with us? Can we do it like that?
Sure.
Okay, I make a motion that we all vote to approve this event contingent on what the park board says at Monday night's meeting.
Continue to approve it at the riverfront, not on the
Yes,
shore.
at the river. Yes, thank
That's
you.
what you're saying.
Mhm.
And the open container at the riverfront, how does that work?
Well,
Is it,
It's already, the riverfront is one of those rare places in town that you're allowed to have open containers anyway.
Yeah, so that's okay. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
just a second?
Motion made and second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so carried. Are you clear on that, Clayton?
Yep,
Thank you, sir.
Did we skip the second one for Justin?
We combined them.
Oh, they combined,
Yeah,
okay.
we combined.
They're different dates, that's why.
No, I read both dates
Yeah.
when we did that. Through you.
Thank you.
Not unusual for me to miss something. Okay, we'll move on to special event application for the Brush and Palette Club Arts and Crafts Festival, Hermann Middle School, October 8th and 9th.
I move to approve.
Motion's been made to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Festival event application for Odin Roasted Almonds, Hermann Winery, October 1, 2, 8, 9, 15, 16, 22, 23, 29, and the 30th of 2022.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, folks. Thank you for those that are watching.